People do crazy things in this world. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever done that?
Oh, no, never.
Jesus told us about such a person in that gospel lesson. Jesus, of course, didn't call him crazy, but he did call him foolish. As far as we know, the man came by his wealth honestly. He didn't cheat, apparently. He didn't lie, didn't steal. Jesus didn't say the rich man was a bad man, only that he was foolish. There's nothing wrong with having money. It's the love of money that gets us into trouble. There's nothing wrong with having the money itself. In fact, a person without money in our society is in deep trouble. In fact, it's a real nuisance, to put it mildly. A lot of people are having difficulty these days, and all days, I guess, getting by. It's tough nowadays. And according to some experts, it's likely to get tougher. There's nothing wrong with wishing we had more money. In fact, some of us need to give more attention to our finances in the first place. Did you know that most people have less than $250 in savings, or so I read? Did you know that in the event of a loss of income or unexpected major expense, the average American family is weeks away only weeks away from bankruptcy? The man in Jesus' parable was not foolish because he had money. Money is important in our world. The rich man's foolishness was that he decided to live the good life, surround himself with nice things, and take life easy. In a Sunday school class for first and second graders, the students were asked to draw a picture showing what they'd do if they could spend the day with Jesus. The pupils tackled the project eagerly. After a few minutes, one little girl came up to her teacher's desk and asked the question, "How do you spell Bloomingdale's?" Evidently, she was going to take Jesus to her favorite department store. Do we make the mistake of associating Jesus with symbols of the so-called good life? I think that is the mistake of the rich man in our lesson this morning. The rich man made the same mistake that many of us do and will do. He assumed that all that's needed for a contented life were a lot of nice things. Wrong. Nobody ever found genuine happiness in mere things. Happiness comes from relationships. Happiness comes from sharing. There are many people who have only money and they have no joy. There are people like you and me who get real joy out of the support of our church. And that support is appreciated even if it's not said very often to us. Some of you would cut back on your personal expenses before you would cut back on giving to the church, not because you do it out of guilt, but because you get real satisfaction in taking part in God's work in the world. I read about a couple in Florida who had been married 21 years, and they were getting a divorce. The terms of the settlement call for the woman to be able to maintain a reasonable lifestyle. Since the couple listed their assets at $100 million, here's what the judge decided. She could fly to New York once a month to get her hair fixed. She would receive $2,600 a month to eat out. And she would receive a liberal expense account for gasoline, oil, and maintenance of her expensive Mercedes. In addition, she was to receive each month $10,400 for vacations, $6,452 for clothing, $1,592 for groceries, $1,440 for local beauty parlors, $1,407 for miscellaneous, $171 for pet care, and $20 for church and charities.
Oh my goodness.
Something wrong with that picture, I would say. $100 million, and she's giving $20 a month to church and charities. I believe Jesus would say to her what he said to the man earlier, "You fool." Wealth is for sharing. Sure, there is satisfaction in the little luxuries of life, but not as much as being involved in something great and lasting. The most foolish thing you can do with money is to allow it to become your God. In times of financial difficulty, attempts at suicide rise. You may know that when hard times come, a suicide watch is placed on the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. I've also read that in those times some people blame their bankers or financial advisors and even think about and sometimes attempt killing those they hold responsible. When your whole life is devoted to the stock market, things like that can happen. When someone makes their money their God. Money is important, no question about that, but money is only a means by which we reach higher goals. Service to others, for instance, obedience to God. God comes to the rich man and says, "You fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself?" The answer was clear. The rich man had put his trust in things. Now he was leaving those things behind. 3 foolish things you can do with money. Deny its importance, of course. Hoard it for yourself. And make it your God. Early in the 20th century, a man gave $100,000 to build a college in Liberia. $100,000 at the beginning of the 20th century was a lot of money. By the 1940s, the college had grown. Thousands of young Africans had been educated there. On an anniversary of the college's founding, the administration decided it was time to say thank you to its benefactor. It took months to track him down. You see, the man had lost everything in the crash of 1929 and was living in a little house on the south side of Chicago. Twice he refused to see representatives from the college, but he finally agreed to receive them. At their insistence, he went to Africa for a celebration. As he looked over the campus, filled with hundreds of students, he whispered to the college professor, "The importance of money is discovered when you give it away." Wise man. Amen.